Hello and welcome to the Legally Empowered podcast. This podcast is brought to you by the Merseyside Junior Lawyers Division in celebration of International Women's Day and sponsored by MSB Solicitors. My name is Beth Walker and I'll be this episode's host. I'm the Secretary of the Merseyside Junior Lawyers Division and Family Paralegal at Jackson Lees Group. I'm delighted to introduce today's guest, Hannah Bickley, Associate Director and Deputy Head of Family Law at Jackson Lees Group. Thank you, Hannah, for taking the time out of your afternoon to be with us here today.
Thanks,
we just firstly wanted to get to know what your route into law was, what made you choose this route, and how do you think Cilex benefited your route into law?
Yeah. So I am a legal executive. I fell into the ILEX route, to be honest. And I always say ILEX because it was when I started at Cilex. I did A-level law and I loved it and I decided that's what I wanted to do. But to be perfectly honest, I didn't want to move out of my mum's house. I had it too easy at home. Didn't want to go away to uni. So I thought, what else can I do? And part of the course, we learned about the legal executive route.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know much about it, but I went for it. I applied for uni still, but deferred that. And once I started it, I loved it. At the time when I first started, I was still working in the pub. And I got a job. I probably started in September, got a job in the legal world. In I think it was around the November, maybe December time. In fact, actually it might have been January. And then I started work there and I loved it because it's alongside work. So you get definitely the educational side and the practical side. And for me, that was really beneficial to do them both together. That really helped me. So that's how I did that route and stayed at it and qualified. So it took me 5 years till I was completely qualified.
Fantastic. It's good as well that you said that you were obviously given that the knowledge of Cilex in college, because I know that from my point of view, I definitely didn't even know that it existed.
Talked about, really. It's just not really. Yeah. I mean, I think you're pushed to go to university from sixth form. It's not really spoken about, but it was the right thing for me to do.
Yeah, good. So what would you say was your inspiration to firstly get into the legal profession? I know you said you did it as A-level, but what was your first drive to get into that?
Do you know what? I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I don't think anyone truly knows what they want to do until they give something a go. And that was where I was at. I did the weirdest choice of A-levels ever.
What did you do?
So I did maths. I'm rubbish at maths.
I wouldn't have had you down
as
a
up on my fingers, right? Yeah, I don't know why I picked maths. I picked physics again.
Oh, wow.
I failed physics. Geology.
I don't even know what that is. I couldn't tell you, to be honest.
And law. So I did the most bizarre A-level choices, but law for me was, that was really what pushed me along this route. Either that or I was going to go and be a geologist and look at volcanoes, and here I am.
Yeah, well, it's good that you made that choice. So what can you kind of give us a bit of an insight of what your day encompasses? I know we obviously work together, so I know some of that myself, but for everyone else, what would you say day to day your role kind of encompasses?
I'd say day to day, well, every single day is completely different.
Yeah, definitely.
My role is very client focused, very client facing. So I will regularly meet with clients, whether that be in person, on the telephone. I can be in court, and with the additional responsibilities in my role now, meetings and things like that. It's pretty chaotic.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie. It's organised loosely chaos.
Yeah.
But I'm just constantly on the go.
Yeah,
constantly.
Best way to be.
Don't get bored.
Yeah. Okay, so we just wanted to know, what advice would you think you would have liked to have received at the start of your career that you think you might give now if you were to speak to someone starting out in law?
I've always said this. So when I started my ILEX, a part of the route to qualify is you had to work in law. Yeah. So it wasn't, I wouldn't go as far as saying an apprenticeship. It was, they were both in isolation, but you had to have a legal role.
Yeah.
And I went into blind panic, if I'm being honest. One, because I didn't really appreciate the different areas of law that you could go into. And I just thought, I need a job and I needed it yesterday. I needed it that urgently. So I went into a litigation role and I stayed there for 4 years. Now, what I learned in that role was unbelievable file management skills.
Yeah.
And it taught me so much, but it just wasn't for me. I just didn't like that area of law. So I just dived in without doing any research into what would suit me. So my biggest bit of advice is, don't feel pressure to dive into any role. Make sure you find the right role for you. Because even if it takes you even an extra year, the amount you will get from that is so much, has so much more value to it.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So just next, focusing on International Women's Day itself, what would you say that means to you, and how and why do you really support International Women's Day?
I think we're moving forward now. We're in 2022. We need to shake off the old traditional values and move forward with modernisation. There's no reason why women can't do exactly what men can.
Well, exactly, yeah.
And you know, we need to move forward with that. So I'm passionate to make people feel empowered to be able to do that and break down the traditional stereotypes.
Yeah. Okay, and what do you think is the biggest challenge to gender equality within the legal sector?
I think it's tradition.
Yeah.
I think traditionally, if you look at what you would assume a lawyer to be, you just assume a male. And I just think that's tradition. And if you look at taking it a little bit further, if you look at the different ways to qualify now, so there is the Cilex, there is the solicitor apprenticeship scheme.
Yeah.
We're modernising as a profession, so we need to shake that stereotypical view off and move forward with society, really.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so the next one, in light of the pandemic, what do you think employers can do to support women at work a bit better?
I think the pandemic's been tough for everyone for so many reasons, but it's been particularly difficult for employers, and to make sure that the employees are feeling supported and valued as much as they all are as employees. And it's a really difficult balance to strike, and it's just difficult to strike, I think, in terms of supporting that. And it goes back to traditions. Traditionally, it was that the females pick the kids up from school, drop them off.
Did the tea ready for when they come in and stuff like that.
Doing all that, having the school bag packed and stuff. And and I think the pandemic has brought that forward a little bit with the kind of hybrid approach that, as you know, Beth, our firm's taken, that you can do all that. But you have to give back in other ways, so move your hours around and stuff like that. So
still hit your targets and stuff.
The pandemic's been tough on everyone, but there's got to be positives that come out the other side of it, that we can do both. We can go and smash your day job in every day and go and pick your kids up from school. It's just about finding that right balance, and that's definitely the hard part, finding the balance.
Too. Oh, that's great, thank you. Okay, so the next one, we wanted to ask, who is a woman that's inspired you and why? So this can be someone global, someone local, celebrity, family.
When I got this question, I was like, oh my goodness, who am I going to say for that? Like, what do you say?
Yeah, it's hard.
And I sat down and thought about it, and I was like, there's got to be one person to say. And I know this is really cliche. And she will die when she hears me say this, but it's got to be my mum, right? Me and my mum get on like a house on fire now. I've got a sister. The three of us are literally best friends. We have not always got on. I don't know how she put up with me. And I wasn't a bad kid, but we just clashed.
I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, we just properly clashed, me and my mum. But she's taught me so much. And I think I've taken that into my personal life as well. So now I'm a mum.
Yeah.
I go to her for everything. Daisy falls over. The first person who rings my mum. Like, she's going to help me. So it's got to be my mum. She was the first person in her family to go to university. And she qualified to be an occupational therapist. And she still managed to smash that job in with me and my sister and looking after us as well. So she's just taught me that, although she annoys me still and I don't live at home, but she still manages to get under my skin, that what she's taught me, I'll keep with me forever.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely, that one. Okay, so...
She won't say that, she'll die of shame when she listens to it. So, and I probably will if I ever listen to it back, because I wouldn't give her that credit ever again.
One time only. What do you think are your top 3 tips for aspiring female lawyers?
Okay. I would say go for it. The only person holding you back is you. If you want to do something, there's no reason why you can't. 2, I would say find, and it's a little bit like what I answered before, find your thing. Everyone in this world is different for a reason, or it'd be a very boring place if we were all the same. Go and find the area of law that suits you, and don't be afraid to take longer to find that. And my next bit will be number 3. I would say don't. This goes down to the traditional thing as well, and I've been in this situation, Beth, and I'm sure you have as well with your little girl, that when I found out I was pregnant, my initial thought was, oh my goodness, what am I going to do about work? Like,
but
work
it shouldn't
was my
be
life.
that.
No, exactly, work was my life, because that was all I had. I was worried about that. And I
Yeah.
thought, why am I worried about having a family? Don't worry about that, because
Yeah.
it's not going to hold you back, and it shouldn't hold you back.
Yeah.
So don't worry about
Yeah.
progressing your family life as well as your working career.
Working life. Yeah. Oh, great. Okay, so I know you've done quite a lot in your career, Hannah, in quite a short space of time, but what do you think would be the highlights so far? It can be, because I know you did work for the MJLD as well. I know you were chair of that in 2018 to 19.
That's got to be up there. So I was charity representative on the MJLD in 2017 over 2018.
And was that the first year?
That was my first year on the committee, So I was part of all the fundraising and things like that.
Yeah.
And then the second year, I was actually vice chair. And the chair at the time stepped down after the first meeting because he had personal reasons, and I didn't forgive him for it at the time because I didn't think I was ready. But he pushed me to then be chair effectively. And I don't think I was ready, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I don't think I was ready for the responsibility, I suppose.
Yeah. It's a big commitment as well, isn't it? A lot of time.
And it forced me massively out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Because I was chairing meetings with, I can't remember how many people there were, maybe 12 people, maybe more. And it was such a big responsibility because the MJLD, as you know, has got such a good reputation. And I wanted to make sure that, that it was readily available for everybody and accessible. So it was really tough. And it was a very stressful year for me, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
And at the time I thought, I can't do this, it's too much. And at that time I'd just qualified as well. So that was my maybe it's my first year and a half of qualification. So I had
loads
all
going
that
on.
responsibility and all the MJLD chair stuff. Looking back now, the amount of confidence that's given me, the ability to talk to people in meetings, because I always say that I was quite a shy individual.
Really?
Honestly, I was. I was so shy, I wouldn't have said boo to a ghost. Like,
no.
You go on holiday and people make holiday friends.
Never you.
No, never me. I used to sit on the end of my mum's sunbed, like not moving, and be upset because Meg, obviously you know Meg, but my sister Meg, she's 4 years younger than me. She'd go off and come back with all these friends, and I'd be all jealous, thinking how she met friends, but because I wouldn't say hi to anyone, so it was my own fault. But that year as chair gave me a new level of confidence because it forced me to do it and forced me to do presentations, which has helped me.
Yeah.
Now.
Even like managing people as well. Like
absolutely,
all the skills
I've
that
never
you can
had
develop. Yeah.
any experience of that until then. And that's helped me now in the role that I'm in now.
Yeah. I've got a lot to owe to Mike then.
Yeah. Well, I didn't at
Mike,
the time.
if you're listening.
If he's listening, he'll know that I gave him a hard time for a long time about that.
Oh, no, that's fantastic. So I wanted to ask, I think it links back to I think you touched on a bit earlier. What do you think are the main struggles you face being a young professional? And what do you think we can do to break that stereotype that lawyers are typically like the white middle-aged man that we discussed earlier? What do you think we can do to break that?
I just think it should evolve with time. Like I said before, it's 2022. Why we've got these traditional views, it's just daft.
Ridiculous.
And I think for me, being a legal executive and that being, although it's been around for a long time, a more modern way of qualifying and less traditional, that's posed me a few difficulties before, and not at all in the where we work now, Beth. But it was more when I was involved in the MJLD. So I was obviously chair of the MJLD, but I couldn't actually be a member of the JLD because they only accepted solicitors.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, it's still the case. I honestly get on my soapbox about it all the time. But so because I think the legal profession is so, I'm going to say it,
I think
archaic.
It's just outdated as well, isn't it?
That
I think.
was better than archaic.
Didn't want to put it in.
I do. I think it's just, it needs to modernise.
100%.
And that be in, let's get rid of this stereotypical male solicitor. It doesn't have to be. It can be anybody. And literally anybody. There's all these new routes to qualification. People do that for many reasons. One, because they mightn't be able to go to the best university and do a law degree because the finances don't allow it. There's no reason why they can't be the best lawyer. A girl I know who I've worked really closely with, and she'll know who I'm talking about. She was someone who trained me and someone that I go to still to this day as someone I really value their opinion for. And I don't think I would be where I am now without them. They got a 2-2 at university, which of course is really, really good and such an achievement. But the out-of-date mindset is that you need to get first from these amazing universities. Of course, I'm not knocking people who do that, because fair play, but that girl I'm talking about was one of the best lawyers that I know.
Yeah, 100%.
And she doesn't fall into that category. So we need to just
and it doesn't mean that she's any less of a person, exactly. Or
just because she got a 2-2, people don't, do very well in exams or things like that. It doesn't mean that they're not a good lawyer, and we could lose people out the profession like that. So I think we just need to leave the past where it is and move forwards now and keep the profession modernising.
And when you look at a legal exec's day and a solicitor's day, especially in our firm, they do the same work, talk to the same clients, do the same job. It should be like that further across the board. And
even if you look at our team, Beth, there's people who aren't even qualified.
Well, exactly.
And they have the same jobs that a lawyer would do, and it doesn't make them any less of a lawyer. That they haven't got the qualification. They're just as good, if not better, than people who do have it.
Yeah, especially those that, like, I know, like, I assist and stuff in work.
Exactly,
the formal qualification, but
have got a wealth of experience
amazing at what they do. Yeah, it's so niche and like
teach
their field and stuff. So sometimes it is just learning as well while you're at work, isn't it? So, okay, so the next one, with being associate director and recently being promoted to deputy head of the family department at Jackson Lees, as we said, at such an early stage of your career, you must have put a lot of hard work and dedication in to get to where you are today. How did you make these achievements possible in such a short space of time? And is there any advice you can give to young professionals who want to achieve and be at the same role and level that you are?
Yeah, it has been a quick kind of period, but if I take my employment history right back, I've been in employment, and I will never forgive him for this anyway even. My dad's got me a paper round when I was 13 or something. It was the worst thing he ever did, because he ended up doing it himself, because I just flatly refused to do it because I wasn't doing a paper round in the rain. But I've been in employment from when I was, save for the paper rounds, 15. And it's just taught me so much in terms of, if you want to get somewhere, you've got to put the hard work in, whether that be, and I used to work in a kitchen, I'm getting flashbacks of it, right? you know extractor fans? Yeah. You used to have to push them up and like take them out, and grease just used to fall all over you.
Oh, the little like mesh thing. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, and just horrible. Like grease used to come off. But I wanted to go and work in the kitchen, and I wanted to be a chef. So I had to do that because that's where I wanted to get, and then that paid off. So I then went into the role in litigation, like I said, and thought, not for me. I'm going to move to family law, but I'd never done family law. So I had to just go right back to basics, and I was there saying, I'll do anything. I'll walk this bundle to court and hand deliver it if I need to, just because I wanted to I suppose, impress. Because I've always been really driven, and I want to do the best I can for myself,
of course.
and for the business as a whole. So I've always just had this drive that I will just keep going and keep going. But I say all that with, it hasn't been easy at all.
No.
And there's been so much work that I've had to put in outside of your typical working hours to get that. So when I applied to be an associate, I was actually pregnant, really early days in the pregnancy. And then I had my little girl when I was an associate, and then that was the next intake of the associate directors when I was on maternity leave. And you have to do, the way our recruitment process is, you have to do 10 core like training courses. And obviously I was on maternity leave. So I was like, I want this. That's what I want to do. That's the next step for me. So even though I was off, I did all those courses. And I think when I did the first one, Daisy was 3 weeks old. And it was on. It was on Zoom, and I just had her in my arms, because I was so. I knew that was what I wanted to do. I thought this is worth it, because that's where I want to get to. And then I was successful in that, and then obviously it's progressed to being deputy head of the department. But I'm not going to sit here and say it was easy, because it wasn't, and it still isn't. It's so tough. But if you want something, you can do it. The only person that's going to stop you doing it is you. So if you put the work and the effort in, you reap the benefits.
Oh, amazing. It's good that nice that Daisy was with you on that little journey.
Yeah,
as
she was
well.
just fast asleep.
Even if she didn't
have a clue what was going on, just this little tiny dot. But yeah.
I think as well, going back to what you said about the paper round, like I know my mum always says like that paper round like showed you how
awful.
you like have
the
that
worst
work
thing I've ever
ethic
done.
or
The worst
whatever,
thing
but
he
you're
did
right.
was
Yeah.
he then additionally in the summer holidays added me on to do an extra one as well, and it was at that point that tipped me over the edge, and I said, no, you're taking this too far. I'm not doing it.
Litigation it is.
Yeah. Anything but paper rounds.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. So, like as you mentioned, like many other women, you gave birth during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah.
How would you say you balance your work and family life effectively, again, to break a different stereotype that you can only kind of choose the family or the work? What would you say?
And do you know what? I think that stereotype of family or work, I had myself.
Yeah, no,
maybe
me too,
unconsciously,
100%.
because when I was saying that I was worried about being pregnant, which is daft, because no one made me feel like that. It was me that made me feel like that. And I thought, oh my goodness, how I'm pregnant. It's like, I was like, obviously ecstatic, but I was like, where does this leave me with work? Why did I even think like that? It's like
an internalised feeling, isn't it? It's horrible.
You know, my head of department would never make me feel like that. You know her. When I told her, she was in floods of tears.
Not more happy than you.
Yeah, with happiness.
Yeah.
But I myself had that stereotype of how do you do this? And I think I probably had that in myself until I started doing it. And I think you've just got to, there is no reason why you can't do both. The only reason that you can't do both is because you're saying you can't do both. Find the balance, which is a lot easier said than done. Yeah. But find the balance of both. And the only way we can break that stereotype is by making people feel that it's acceptable, not acceptable even, but that it's okay and it's doable.
Yeah. Like less of a worry to tell people as well, because I'm sure I think if it was me, I might have felt like so nervous to tell everyone. But
I don't know why I was.
Yeah.
I remember I told Hayley, who's our head of department, she cried her eyes out. And then our managing director rang me straight after, and I'm thinking, why is she ringing me?
I'm
panicking. And then she was just like, oh my goodness, congratulations. And I was like, oh, that wasn't so bad. Yeah. But I don't know why I thought it was bad. It was me that thought it was bad. So I think myself, I had that unconscious stereotype.
Yeah, me too. And I think for people obviously listening, but it'll be nice for people that are thinking of maybe doing law that have got kids or that are like pregnant, because I know last year when I did the LPC I was pregnant and doing so it would have been good to have been able to listen to where you are now to say that you can do both, because I think that's something that I personally was
worried about.
Yeah, but I don't know why. It's just
I'm asking you the question.
I don't know. But yeah, no, it is just stupid, because
there's no reason
you shouldn't
to worry.
be. Yeah,
people don't have babies. There's no human beings.
Well, yeah, exactly. Doing everyone a favour. But no, fantastic. So on to our last question then. As you've said, a young working mum, what is an important message you hope that you can demonstrate and teach Daisy, maybe about working life or being a woman or just on a journey and growing up? But what would you like to say that you can teach or demonstrate to her?
It's a hard one, that.
That's why we left that one till last. We thought that was...
Let me leave it and let me ponder on it. I just hope that Daisy thinks that I give Daisy the confidence to do whatever she wants to do. So I don't care what she does as long as she's happy. So I want her to have that confidence to say, this is what I want to do. And then that drive to say, right, how do I do it?
I know that it is possible as well.
Yeah. So I want her to say, right, well, my mum did it. She had a baby in a pandemic. She cracked on. Yeah. And then she went and achieved it still. Yeah. So I can do anything. Yeah. That's what I hope she takes. Yeah. And even like, I know we're talking about women, but Daisy's dad, he is dyslexic. He'll probably kill me for saying that on here. And did rubbish in all his exams and stuff, but he's now gone on to be successful too. So I just hope that we as a collective can parent her to think whatever she wants to do, go and do it, because the only person that's going to hold her back is her. Yeah. That's fantastic. Oh, well, that's all the questions that we wanted to ask today. So thanks again for... Thank you very much for having me. Your time, Hannah. That's been really helpful. And I hope that you've provided some assistance and insight to people that maybe are thinking of
coming into the legal profession, or as you say, might be thinking of having a family that can't due to the job and stuff. So I think you will
can
really
do
helped.
anything that you want.
Yeah. Everyone, thank you again.
Thanks, Beth.
Speak to you soon.
See you later.
Bye.